Well, hello, my dear friends. Good morning. I'm very happy to see you today in our watercolor class with our studio, Color of Water studio. Today we are going to paint the butterfly, but not only paint. We're gonna see and prepare this butterfly. We're gonna take a look at all the details that it has, and we're gonna have the more clear understanding how to do this butterfly and looking like alive. And by the way, my name is Olga Osnach. I am artist, and you are now present on our class of Color of Water Creation Studio. Yeah, good morning again. Before we start, I would like to tell a little bit about materials and supplies which we are going to use today. Now I'm going to switch to another camera just to be sure that anyone can see what we are going to use today. The most often for our exercises, I am using this watercolor paper. The paper is very important for our exercises, for our classes. So this watercolor paper you can buy in the dessert stores. And this is manufactured by Fabriano, which is made in Italy, especially for this store. So if you have a chance to buy this paper, please do not go buy, just buy it and enjoy. And of course, we are going to use the watercolor itself. Today I'm going to use the Rosa Gallery watercolor. This is the Ukrainian brand. But to be honest, for today's class, it's not very important which kind of brand you are going to use. Because this is the thing. This class is not very hard, I would say. So I know the people, they were using the watercolor even from dollar store for this kind of class, and the results were very good. So we decided to start with this project. So you're gonna have that time to prepare your supplies for future lessons if you don't have the proper supplies for now. So do not worry. And also I would like to say that our classes are going to be recorded. So you will have a chance to um, to watch it again and to repeat the exercise if you need, in case if you need it. What else? I would like to come back to to the paper again. So if you do not have a chance to buy this watercolor paper that I have shown previously, this one, this brand, again, I'm going to show it like this. Yeah. So you can consider also Strathmore watercolor paper. So all these papers, they're made of cellulose fiber. I would not say that these are professional paper, but it's very good to train yourself. So as soon as you will feel that you need to extend your abilities, your opportunities in working with watercolor, you can consider to buy more expensive paper like cotton paper. But we can talk about papers and other things a little bit later. And by the way, if you have questions, you can ask them. Just please be sure that your microphone is turned off after you finish. Or you can just use the chat. So let's start finally. Um, some supplies. I will tell something about supplies a little bit later, more during our process. Usually on our classes, I try to give more information about the object that we are going to paint. So because we are going to paint the butterflies today, I found some interesting information about them. And this is always more interesting and more like it gives more excitement to people The understanding what are you painting, what are you drawing gives more excitement to people who are going to do this. Butterflies, very beautiful creatures and very complicated creatures. And the interesting fact that I have found was that butterflies, they haven't had their wings 200 billion years ago. So they were like wingless, no beauty. And approximately that time period, it started to appear something very close to wings, and during the evolution, the butterflies became like they are now. A lot of species, a lot of varieties of pattern, and a lot of very beautiful colors. And probably you know, probably not, that all these beautiful patterns, they are made of flakes. So wings are covered with a very, very, very tiny flakes, and each flake usually has just one color. And one wing of butterfly can have up to 1 billion flakes. So if we can take a close look to the wing under microscope, we can see these dots, and the butterfly wings. They're composed like the pointillism pictures. So they remind the pointillism pictures in this style, because one flake has one color, and when they have and 1 billion flakes, well, probably a little bit less, but doesn't matter, can construct this beautiful pattern. And as for pattern itself, as for colors, the butterflies are like, I don't know, it sounds something very mythical. I would say that there is two options of patterns on butterfly wings. One I mentioned already, and another one, usually they're butterflies from very hot region, from tropical parallels of our globe. They have this metallic effect on their wings. So what makes them looking like this? Their flakes of the butterflies there, they made of kind of very tiny straws, and these straws has nothing inside. So when the light is coming through these very tiny straws, every tiny straws has a little rainbow in it. So that's why they're looking like the metallic. They have this metallic effect on their colors. So it's more difficult to paint them. And for people who would like to paint the butterflies with this metallic effect, they definitely need to consider the rainbow before. But today we are going to make it easier butterfly, zoom, and we're gonna take a look at the construction of these butterflies. So I'm going to make them like a sketch of butterfly to explain a little bit what is going on, and it's gonna be easier for you to draw them later. Okay, so first of all, the shape of butterfly can be put into the easier shapes. Usually I ask my students to find the easier shapes first before making more complicated shapes. So you can draw the butterfly inside so it can be square or it can be rectangle, like this one. Okay, you know what? So I'm gonna try to make more light here, so we're gonna see better. Is it okay? Yeah, fine. So axis which is dividing this rectangle in two, it's going to be the middle of the butterfly. So, and it can be rectangle and can be a little bit like trapeze. So this is going to be the easiest shape to draw the butterfly into. But if we draw or paint our butterfly just like flat, just in like dead butterfly in the collection, we can draw it like it is. But if we would like to make it looking a little bit like a 3D, we need to consider the perspective visual laws. So what it means? It means that the part of butterfly's body or wings, which is a little bit further from us, gonna look a little bit shorter and smaller. So I will just turn a little bit my piece of paper so you will see. So this part gonna look a little bit shorter. And even if I will draw my butterfly here and pretend that this is like just easiest way, and they're the same, a little bit. You see the other part, this one, is looking smaller. And what if we will just turn it or bend it a little bit? All this movement, they will affect the way how you can see the butterfly, how it looks. And we're gonna start with a simple butterfly. Before we start, I would like to show you the picture, the reference picture that we have for this one. Just let's this one. So I will share screen just for a moment, just to remind you what we're gonna have here. This is our reference pictures, our reference picture. So we're gonna consider first this butterfly, this one. This wing looking a little bit closer to us, this one further, so that's why it looks a little bit shorter. This is the way how it will look. I just showed you. And okay, let's start. I prefer to draw first on our piece of paper for the sketching, and then we're gonna move our drawing to the watercolor paper. So, and I will start with this shape, which is in perspective. What perspective means? It's the way how we can, how our vision looking for us, so we can understand that we are not on a 2D surface. So the things which are very far from us, they look smaller than the things which are closer to us. So that's why, for example, this is the closest dot, and this line, which is closer to us, gonna be longer than this one, and the same here. So I have to make first the shape like this. This distance from these two lines is a little bit smaller here than here, and the same thing is here. So this one is bigger than this one. And we need to find the center for our butterfly, because like a lot of objects, butterfly has axis, the middle line, the line which will divide our butterfly into. And now couple words about how the butterfly wings are constructed, because this is the most beautiful things, and that's why we are painting butterflies. So butterfly, first of all, it has three-sectional body, like head and chest and abdomen. And butterflies have two pair of wings, the upper wings and the bottom wings. Usually the upper wings, they developed more than the bottom wings. And two pairs of wings, they are growing up from the chest, from here. This part, it is called costal margin. It's not the bone itself, but this part, this edge of the wing, is more hard, and because it supports the whole wing. And both wings, they have like eyelet, but it's called discoidal cell. And this is eyelet also supports the other streak of veins. And they can come like this, these veins. It doesn't mean that they have the kind of blood inside these veins, but they're called like veins. Why we need to understand how these veins are here, where they're situated on the wing, because it affects the pattern. And also the male butterflies, they have more developed upper wings than the bottom wings. They're not the same, and sometimes when butterflies are flying, they're using mostly the this upper pair of wings. But you know, like males, they, if you consider, for example, mammals, and you see that usually males, they have their chest more developed than females. The same thing comes with butterflies. The same thing. Okay, so in coming back to this first shape, we can just define a little bit the head and a little bit the chest. Chest has the shape of the small egg. Doesn't come here. Not shown. And also I suggest to people who have to draw the symmetrical objects to draw them the both sides simultaneously. What it means. So if I'm drawing the line here, I need to draw the same line here, because it's going to be more difficult to make the symmetrical objects looking symmetrical if you draw first one side and then try to adjust another one to this. So I need to define this trapeze here. the bottom wings usually overlaps a little bit the top one. And the body can be a little bit shorter. So this is why we need our sketching book and our sketching prior, the drawing. It's just to have our hand warm up. So, and in this case, our butterfly gonna look like the object in perspective. So if I will just erase another lines, you will see that our butterfly is not flat anymore. And if we will add a little bit of shades on it, it's gonna look more 3D. Okay? Probably we can draw and paint one butterfly or two or three. So I would like you not to paint all of them together. Start with one. If you will have time, you will finish this, you will add more butterflies on your list. But if you will make only one and the sketch of another one, it's going to be more than enough for the first time. Just I will put a little bit aside this thing, and would like to show you again our reference. This red butterfly, Monarch Butterfly, has a little bit different shape comparing to the picture that we have done just right now. So it's more extended to the sides. So for the butterfly of this breed, we can make a little bit longer rectangle like this one. Okay? So let's try. Also, I will put my butterfly in this side of the paper, and I will see. Probably I will put one butterfly here, and if I will have time and space, I will put a little bit. I will put a little one here too. So, but I'm going to start with the same thing. A little bit longer. You can measure the size of the lines by putting their pencil like this, just on this dot, the end of the pencil, and hold with the nails. So it's gonna be here, and I need just a little bit smaller, like this. This is the center of the butterfly. So it looks like my butterfly gonna be very big, and it's okay. I would like to make them micro. And also I need to define the trapeze for this butterfly, because bottom pair of wings of the monarch is not very developed. And also you see, so I'm just finding the middle of this distance from the center to the end, and the same thing I'm making here. So the lines of this trapezium of where the butterfly gonna be drawn in is not the trapeze now, it's the trapezium perspective. So this is gonna be the shape of my butterfly. And shorter. So here, the size of the head and body is approximately 2/3 parts of this size, but it doesn't mean that it has to be all the time, always like this. So again, it depends on the butterfly itself, but it's just approximately 1/3 or 2/3 parts. It's going to be the size of the whole body and chest. And small abdomen. And this is interesting. Recently, I have found the butterflies cannot see how beautiful they are themselves. So they do not distinguish colors like we are. They can understand where the flowers are, but they cannot, so they do not consider themselves like something very beautiful. And again here. A little bit bending this, and this place the wing bends a little bit, the shape of the wing. Sometimes we can construct our perspective base too good. So I think I need just to adjust a little bit my wings. More from the side. And also, this is eyelids. 1, It's here, another one is here, and I would like to draw another butterfly a little bit closer, but more looking more flat. Also the same thing. So I'm going to make 2 butterflies at least. And it's up to you if you want to make them 2 or more. This is interesting that the color of butterflies, even inside the one breed, can be different because of the temperature of the space of living. I was reading about the research of butterflies somewhere in Himalayas, where the butterflies were living on the bottom of the mountain and a little bit higher, where the temperature is lower. And the same butterflies, the same kind of butterflies, but different color. When the temperature outside is pretty low, the butterfly have more bright and more vivid colors on their wings. This is because they have to be warm. They have to warm them up very good before flying, because they cannot just fly if they have if they feel cold, and because they have different bodies compared to mammals, and the system of their organism doesn't work of the same way, so they need to wait when their body will take the warm from the outside. So they have to sit on some surfaces, on some warm, let's say, stones or branches, or I don't know, and to wait until they're gonna be so warm to be able to fly. And because on the higher territories the temperature is more lower, the butterflies there had more bright and more vivid colors on their wings. So it helps them to warm them up faster. And another eyelets here. Coastal margin. When you're drawing on your watercolor paper, Do not press too much on your pencil, because we will need to reduce the amount of graffitis on our paper, and it's gonna be difficult if you press too much. And here, look, if you are drawing one vein, draw immediately the same on another side. And it's gonna be a good thing if you will not lose these veins. These veins, they do not have, as I told already, like a blood or something like blood inside. But recently the scientists found that the butterflies need them not only for support the tissue of the wing, but also they help to butterfly to warm up the body. That's what I told. The butterflies has to be warm to fly. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Sometimes it happens. If you need more time, just ask me. The pattern of Monarch Butterfly is pretty easy to work with, and probably this is a good idea not to start with the very complicated patterns of butterfly wings, because we need to understand not only the pattern but how the light is working on the surface of the wing. And here I'm going to show you one thing. And usually people like these experiments with additional things. So I will just cut off from the piece of paper the butterfly, and I will show you how we can see the light on it. Like this. Okay, so it's gonna be the head. And the big wing. Butterfly do not have the flat wings. Their wings are bending a little bit like this because of the air. So when they make this movement to the top, they bend the wings like this. Onto the bottom, they bend to another way. So when they sit, their wings are bended a little bit of this way to the bottom. And And if we will take our butterfly like this and add additional source of light, you will see how the light is working on the surface of the wing. So this part of the wings gonna be more lighted, or this one, and something which is going on the left part closer to the center gonna be darker, and here is gonna be more shades too. To find how our butterfly can be lighted, you can also make the same thing. You can cut the butterfly from the paper, add additional source of light, and see. And also, the same approach helps us to find how gonna look our shade. So for example, I would like to put it like this. And my butterfly shades gonna look like this. So here a little bit down there of these wings, and another one like this. So this is gonna be the shade of this butterfly, and another one. Gonna give me this is better to play a little bit more with this light here. Probably like this, yeah. So this butterfly is gonna have a little bit more extended shade. Like this. Okay, so I think we can try to start with our butterflies, and if we will have time, we will draw another one here. Okay, so as for brushes, I have so this is brushes which I bought in Russia, but it doesn't mean that we cannot find something similar or better here. This is Master Touch Fine Art Studio, and I'm not sure about this one because probably I bought it even here in Canada. I don't remember, to be honest. This is synthetic bristle, very soft, and I like it. I cannot say that this is the most expensive brush, but it works pretty well, and it has in it, it holds the good top, good point, this one. This is made of Kolinsky Cyber. This is the Russian brush, and very good to work with details. Very fine. We do not need very wide brushes today, but we can start with the middle one and then go with the small brush to make more details. As for palette, I prefer to use just the regular white plate, and but it doesn't mean that you must use the plate. The only thing that I ask my students, do not use the plastic palettes bought in Dollarama or not in Dollarama with the sections for color, for paints. It is very inconvenient to use with watercolor. And before we start, I would like just to reduce a little bit the amount of graffitis. If you have a kneaded razor, it's gonna work even better, but I'm using just a regular one today. And I will make my first butterfly with just one color. Yet it's gonna be this. I will not name the colors today because everyone has different paint, different brands, and even if I name the colors today or not today, the same different colors can have the same names in different brands. So, for example, in one brand, let's say Red Madder Lake can look differently from the color of another brand. So I've seen this before. And also, this is not about find the very right paint and paint step by step. It's just to find your own way to drive your own box with paints. So you need to know what you have. You need to know how to deal with them. So I would say I'm just taking this red, orangish red, and I dissolve it a little bit with water, so I still have enough pigment here, but I do not take the watercolor directly from the boxes or from the tubes, never. I use it on a plate first to prepare the color, and for now I will just apply with a thin layer of the paint just everywhere and even on the body, just with a light red color. It doesn't have to be very dry because we will like kind of infuse the additional amount of paint in a wet surface. That's why we need the paint dissolved with water, and so it has to look like it has the drop of water in it. So in this case, it's gonna look like mine. Okay. And again, I add a little bit of red Mother Lake to change a little bit the color. And here, this part is dried a little bit already. So this part I will do a little bit darker to the end. Of the wing. And do remember I was trying to put it here closer to the body. And here I lift a little bit the pigment inside the body by wiping off my brush with a piece of tissue, piece of paper. I lift a little bit the pigment here on the bottom, on the top of the bottom wing. And add a little bit of pigment above. It doesn't have to be very sharpened edge of this wings, because anyway we're gonna underline it with a tiny brush in the end. But for now, our purpose is to make butterfly looking kind of 3D already. This is the first layer that we're gonna do. And bottom wings a little bit darker around the body. They're pretty close to the body itself. Okay. And another butterfly I'm going to make a little bit more orange-ish. So monarchs can be orange or red, different shades of orange. So I will do the same thing with this butterfly, just to make it a little bit different in color. And if you have too much water here, you can wipe up a little bit your brush with paper towel, or I'm using the shop towels last days. Just the blue shop towels, and they absorb water amazing, and they're, well, every time I'm finding some new materials, some new tools, and this is also our tool. So again, I add a little bit more dark color here to make this body looking a little bit darker, closer to the body itself. I mean, to make the wings looking a little bit darker to the body. This dries pretty fast. And even I can clean the brush and lift with a half dry brush. Clean the brush with water, wipe it with a paper towel, and with a half dry brush to lift a little bit the pigment here. So the butterfly gonna look even more 3D shaped on the top. And I'm going to my smaller brush. So here I need more intensive color, not very dark though, just more intensive. And I need to underline a little bit their veins. So the second layer of the watercolor and I'm going around the veins, but I do not go everywhere with the second color. I prefer you to take a pause and to see what I'm doing. Sometimes it's just easier to show you. So I'm adding the shades a little bit, but these veins, I don't go over them. Because these veins, they are like the needles on umbrella, and this tissue of the wings, they're kind of stretched on these veins. And by the way, this approach also can be used if you would like to try botanical illustration one day. And you make the first layer of shades first, and then add another veins and another details. Here there is a good chance to lose these veins, but still be careful, do not lose them. We will still need them. And the same thing I'm gonna do on this butterfly above. And now this butterfly is dried, the bottom one, and I would like to go to the black details. They're not black. I'm gonna use sepia. Sepia is the very dark brown, and with a mix of Prussian blue. So it's gonna be the color which is very close to the paint called Payne's gray. So it's very dark, but it's not the black yet. And with my tiny brush, I'll go to work on the pattern. So go around the edge first. From one side. So I'm going to start with the bottom first. From one side, add a little bit of water, so it doesn't have to be very dark yet. And just go to make the strip here, the ribbon. And the little circles inside. The red circles. And just press a little bit top towel to make it a little bit lighter here. Not to make it looking very artificial. Because we can add some dark accents, but it doesn't have to be very black everywhere. And the same thing I'm gonna do on the another side. The body. The chest can be covered with a very tiny, it's not like a hair, but like little fiber. So if you want, you can even define them with your tiny brush, like this. Just do not make it too dark. And the abdomen has its own lines. Like this. And also we can define the eyes here. And the little antennas. I do not outline all the veins, but somewhere I will add a little accents with the tiny top of my brush, with my tiny brush. Somewhere this line has to be interrupted. A little bit underline here. Because if you will underline or outline all these veins with the black, it's going to be too artificial. So the butterfly will not look like a real one. And our purpose of today's lesson is to make the butterfly looking like a real one, like a sitting on the piece of paper. So not too much. And some dots on the wings. 3 black dots on the bottom one. And here on the bottom wings I also can outline a little bit there. Add some accents on the veins. But again, I'm not outlining all of them. And 3 black and white dots on the top pair of wings. I will make the black dots first and then I will put the tiny white dots on top. And as for whites, usually when we are working with watercolor, we do not use the China white, which is in a lot of boxes with watercolor papers, because the watercolor white it's translucent, and this paint dense enough to make the other colors looking denser, but it cannot cover with the white your previous layer of the paint. So if you need to add some white highlights with your watercolor, you need to use white gouache, and I am using the this brand of Graham and Company of gouache, this one. Unfortunately, last year made this paint very expensive, but we do not use this a lot. So if you buy this gouache, believe me, it's going to be very good addition to your watercolors. It doesn't mean that you need to use the white a lot, because well, so this is the question. The watercolorists, they argue all the time if it's allowed to use the white in watercolor or not. But we, on our classes, sometimes we are using for highlights this white gouache, and it's really convenient to have under the hands. And so 3 dots black first, like a small eyes on the wings to hide from predators, to make predators to be scary of the butterflies. And after it dried, I will put the piece of white on top. And while I'm waiting until it dries, I would like to work on the shade. So how I will do this? I need to clean my brush very well, and to wet the space of the shade that I defined previously, just with the clear water. And then I will take a little bit of purple with a sepia. This is probably one of my favorite mixtures. Purple with sepia. It gives like gray purplish color. And I will just infuse it here where my wet surface is. Probably I can even add a little bit of Prussian blue to make it more different in color from the butterfly itself. And then I can help a little bit to the water to spread the pigment inside the shade by changing the angle of my working paper. So I can just help it to flow. And if it doesn't flow enough, I still can add a little bit of water. This is a game with water, and this is why we are doing all of this. To see how the water works. The watercolor dries a little bit more pale after, well, so it becomes pale after it dries. So don't be afraid to add more color in your wet surface. And the only thing that I would like to add here is a little bit of red, a touch of red, like a reflection from the butterfly. So now the dots on the bottom pair are dry, so I will not squeeze out the paint because I need just a very tiny amount, so I can just grab it from the lid and put the dots, the white dots on top of the blacks on the top pair of wings. And also I can add a little bit here. Highlights on the eyes. Well, so I would say that this butterfly is ready. I will not probably add anything else on it. Or not. I will see. After the shade dries, I will see if I need to add something to highlight something here or not. We'll see. And now the same thing I'm gonna do with this one. Same details. Same. The only difference gonna be that for more orange one, I will take the pure sepia. If you do not have sepia in your boxes, you can mix black with the brown to make like very dark brown, but it still has to be brown. dots on the bottom wings. And the black and white dots on their top wings. Black first, and then after they dry, I will put the white dots above them on top. And while it dries, again, their shade. And here, by the way, the shade is dried, but because it was a lot of water here, there is like a very sharpened edge. So I wash it out very gently with the brush, with the water, and lift up this drop of water with my brush. So the edge is not very sharpened anymore here. And the same thing I can do here too. Just to soften this edge. But with this shade, I will do the same thing with the bottom one, with the top one, sorry. More Prussian blue in this mix for the top butterfly shade. It's gonna highlight this orange color more. Not the clear one, Prussian blue, but in the mixture, in the mix with sepia. like this. And change a little bit the angle of the water, of the paper. So I'm just helping the pigment to spread with the brush. I don't have any water or any color with the brush now. I'm just with half dry brush, with a clean half dry brush, just help the pigment to spread. And also a little drop of orange as a reflection from the butterfly into the shade. And a little bit of this dark gray here. So it seems to me that my butterflies are looking pretty realistic. What about yours? What do you feel about your butterflies? And the drop of white on top here, here, and here, and on another wing. Okay, so nothing to do with these butterflies anymore. Probably I will just soften the edge of this shade after it dries. I don't think that I need to do something else with them. And because we still have a little time, I will draw the sitting butterfly. Again, this is up to you. If you have, if you feel that you can do it now, you can do it now. If not, don't worry, because this lesson is recording, so you will be able to see it later and try to repeat. So I'm gonna draw this one with a small abdomen, small chest, small hair. This one is a little bit different. Butterfly, but with a big, beautiful wings. And I remember when I was looking for the pictures for this class, I could not understand what's wrong with the wings of this butterfly. And then I realized that this was a male and probably he was fighting. I don't think that butterflies are fighting, but it is very possible because his wings had not like very sharpened edge, but a little bit destroyed the edges. The edges were looking like they were into the fight. So probably it is like one wing, another wing. Discoidal cell. I'm gonna learn a lot of new English words which we are not usually use in our life. But still, this is very interesting. So here it was. And another wing can be seen further, somewhere there. Butterfly have 6 legs, and this is interesting that, if I'm not mistaken, in 18th century, the scientists thought that butterflies and insects generally, the flies, and they have 8 legs without counting them. This is also like funny fact. And one day somehow someone decided to count the legs of insects, and wow, they're not 8, they're just 6. New discovery. And like this, that's gonna be the shade here. And for this butterfly I will take the very diluted cadmium lemon. So it's gonna be the different kind of butterfly. Almost invisible on the top. And here my favorite part, how to make the blue infusion into yellow, avoiding mixing them, the blue and yellow. So I just add a little bit of cerulean here and just pull it down. So they will not, we will still have the blue color there, so it will not come to the green. And it is because of the density of these two paints. Cadmium yellow is the paint which is less translucent than other watercolors. And the same thing with cerulean. So it's pretty difficult to mix them and to have the only one color, because the pigments are not too small, these small parts of the pigment. They can be seen, these little dots. And this helps. And for body of this yellow butterfly, I will take the raw umber, probably one of my favorite paints. This is a little bit greenish, grayish brown, and it gives very gentle, not very dark, not very intensive, pretty neutral brown, which can be very helpful. This is a time to let it dry a little bit, and while it dries I need to soften this edge, the edge of this shade. So you see, I am not losing any minute. Just a little bit of another one somewhere further, just to define these wings. I'm going to erase this outline later, so I will not need them anymore. And with the raw umber, I will define the veins of this butterfly, of this one. And some circles of the pattern here. And the shade. The same mixture, sepia plus Prussian blue and a little bit of purple. Let it flow a little bit, and I would add a very tiny amount of cadmium lemon here. And after this shade dries, I just need to correct a little bit the body. Not just correct, but to put some accents on the body of this butterfly. And we're gonna be done. Almost here. Okay, and this is it. I'm done. I'm pretty sure you're well done, and I'm very excited to see what you have, which are the results of today's lesson. But for now, I just have nothing to say that thank you very much for coming today and see you next week.